Mitch McConnell has flipped, going from support for a year-end spending compromise to opposing it. If the GOP can hold off the Democrats, it could give them leverage, big leverage, when they take control of the House against the administration's budget priorities. Now, here's the worst-case scenario: a government shutdown already being talked about by a prominent and influential Republican operative. Frank Keating, Jami Floyd, Chrystia Freeland are here. Governor, let me start with you. Is this part of the GOP agenda? Tie everything up that's in the lame duck session and then gives them a better chance of getting what they want next year?
Well, good morning, Chris. And no, I don't think so. I mean, how many times do you put your hand on a hot oven? This was attempted in 1995 to great embarrassment to the Republicans. Maybe there was integrity to it at the time, but it didn't work out. It blew up in their faces. It's important to be opposition. There's no question that, that extra 60 seats in the House will be opposition, a very tight Senate, but it has to be loyal opposition. I think to the extent that Republicans can focus on reforms of health care, like the 1099 requirement, or reforms of Dodd-Frank, or the TSA. I mean, issues that really do ail the economy or the average citizen, they'd be a lot wiser. But to shut down the government makes no sense. We all pay our taxes to have government. We don't want it shut down. Yeah, but we heard Grover Norquist. He, of course, is the influential head of Americans for Tax Reform, saying we need to stop the Obama spend-a-thon, as he called it. And if that means, Jami, a government shutdown, so be it.
Listen, if they want to shut it down, I say bring it on. Look, there's one of the few things about getting older, and there aren't many, that is great. It's wisdom. Let's see, where was I in 95? Oh, that's right, Washington. And I remember the shutdown, and who did it help? The Democrats. That's right. It backfired on the Republicans. If they want to shut it down, I think it's very short-sighted for them. There's one thing Obama has in common with the Republicans, and that's dealing with the Tea Party, this desire to shut everything down. The voters, I don't think, really want that. I think they didn't give change a chance. I think that shutting everything down is not going to accomplish turning the economy around, which is really what we need. And some of the Obama plan needs to continue in order to keep the economy going. Some spending is necessary.
And while this is going on, this bipartisan commission is recommending tax increases, even raising the age of Social Security to cut the deficit. Let me play for you what Alan Simpson had to say this morning on Morning Joe.
You can come in here with, no taxes. I mean, I think Grover Norquist will be irrelevant in a year. Because if he's calling this a tax increase, he's in Disneyland.
But they haven't come to an agreement, Chrystia, on tax increases. And I think this is where a lot of the Democrats are really getting upset with the president. They're saying, we got to stand our ground on this. We have got to just do extend tax cuts just for the middle class and let them expire for the richest Americans.
Sure. I mean, I think that is what that's the Democratic agenda. That's what the president would like ideally. But the big question is, it's a game of brinksmanship. And I agree with Jami's point that
it's not. Who's closer to the edge right now?
Well, I think what we've seen, judging by the past 2 years, is the Republicans are willing to push it harder than the White House has been. And so far, politically, I'm not talking about in terms of policy, but politically, being the party of no has worked for the Republicans. And what the Republicans have found, again, just talking about the politics, is, the president, in a way, did the compromising with himself. We saw that with the stimulus. And so I think, this is a really important moment in terms of whether the White House is going to take a tougher line.
The agenda, then, is this going to say this is where we're going in this new next 2 years? It's either going to be, as some have put it, either he's going to be a compromise or cave, and it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I think maybe Republicans on the Hill should have a conversation with their old mentor, Newt Gingrich, about how it went last time around.
All right. Thanks very much, Frank Keating, Jami Floyd, Chrystia Freeland. We've got more to talk about, and they're going to stick around. Frank Keating, Jami Floyd, Chrystia Freeland, as the vice president is couching his words, probably very wisely. What do you think, Governor? Could Sarah Palin beat Barack Obama in 2012?
Well, I have not had a drink of Four Loko this morning, so I don't think I'm exaggerating the situation. But, Sarah Palin is really quite remarkable. John McCain called me the day that he selected her. I said, I think it was a great choice, pro-life, an NRA lifetime member, husband's a steel worker. She was and is an extraordinary asset to the party. She brought out a lot of people. Obviously, we misfired as Republicans on the O'Donnell and the Nevada race as well. But the fact is, she has two very successful books. I guess the second one's coming out, will be very successful.
But
she's energized people.
Not
She
to
is
interrupt you,
alive
Governor.
and well.
Look, nobody's arguing the fact that she's got the it factor. Nobody's arguing the fact that she has taken this vice presidential nomination and really run with it. But again, could she beat Barack Obama?
I think that Barack Obama is an extraordinary politician, but he's had extraordinary problems. He's had real challenges in foreign policy. We've seen that recently, certainly in domestic affairs. A lot of people are mad about Obamacare. It was supposed to hold down health care costs. Apparently, health care costs are going to be very substantially higher. So I think the Tea Party movement, the conservatives will be for Sarah. The issue is where the independents will go. If they nudge Sarah Palin's way, assuming she's a candidate, I think she could defeat him. But right now, it would be very, very difficult. A lot of people don't know that much about her, but it's still an amazing political climate we find ourselves in.
It absolutely is. And Jamie, you know, the vice president was laughing, but he also made the point that a lot more people are making, which is that she's been underestimated before.
Never underestimate your opponent. And the governor says she's an extraordinary asset to her party. I say she's an extraordinary ass. Frankly, I think.
Are we allowed to say that?
I'm sorry. Yes, I think we can. We're all grown-ups. I think grown-ups are watching. The kiddies are in school. The bottom line is, I pray Sarah Palin is their opponent for Barack Obama. The more the woman says, the more trouble she gets into. I don't know if anyone's seen it. You can see it on YouTube. Glenn Beck asking Sarah Palin who her favorite founding father is, and she struggles to think of a founding father. Yes, she does. This woman is the candidate from the old Robert Redford. This woman is the candidate from the old Robert Redford movie.
Some people,
she's a fascinating figure. She's a great fundraiser. She is beautiful on camera. She brings a lot to the table, but she is not the next president of the United States.
Now, real quick.
Well, I think the Democrats need to be really careful to assume that Sarah Palin is an asset for the Democrats if she's the Republican candidate. If the economy is in terrible trouble, let's imagine 2012, terrible economy, the one thing that she's really good at is expressing the anger of the sort of hammered middle class. She's a great populist leader, and if the economy is in bad shape, maybe a populist is the person who wins.
Not as their candidate, only in the background.
Krista, Jamie, Governor, not the last we'll have of this conversation.
Oh, no.
Have a great weekend. Thank you all.
Thank you.